Shoot, what's the intro? Crap, I forgot. What did I decide on? It's me, your host, Carbet, and welcome back to the Dead Dad podcast. I know I said in the other one that this was going to be my first episode. I changed my mind. That's not the first episode. That is episode point 0.5, half of an episode. Because I realized that I didn't talk about the things that I wanted to talk about. So, we're here doing that today. So, welcome! Yay! Welcome hanging out. I do apologize ahead of time if the camera does a lot of focusing or refocusing. I don't know what to do to fix it, and I think it's because of my window. I did also move the camera. You can't see it, but I have you set up on a Amazon tripod that I bought. So we will see how this. So far it's working really nice, but if it's autofocusing a lot, I'm sorry. There's not a lot I can do. I also don't know where to look. I want to look at my computer screen, but then I realize I'm not looking at you when I do this. I'm not used to this. So bear with me. I do have notes up, but you can see that in the reflection of my glasses. I have notes up for what we're going to talk about today. My hands are dry. Can I get... As soon as I start recording, it just becomes sensory overload, and I'm like, oh, why did I do this to myself? BRB, I'll be right back. I put it on because I thought it would look cool, and it does. But then as soon as I put it on, I was like, this is sensory overload. I don't like this. So, taking it off. But for this specific episode, we're going to talk about my dad. So, as the podcast is so graciously named the Dead Dad podcast, I have a dead dad, believe it or not. My dad, insert photo. My dad passed away. His name was Robert. He passed away on January 15th of 2013. I was 14 years old when he passed away. And it's honestly just such a crazy... It's a really crazy thing to think about, because it's been well over 10 years at this point. And it's, I don't know, just the thought that there are more people in my life today that have never met him than ever before, that's what's super crazy. And that's the thing that has me like, it's just a very strange thing that there have been so many people that either who are still in my life or not in my life anymore, who have never met my dad and will never be able to meet him. And it's such a crazy concept. I know my one cousin, her boyfriend, for a while, thought that my mom and dad were just divorced, and that's why he was never around. And it was like, no, he passed away a few years ago. And he was like, oh, well, don't I just feel stupid? And it's like, you didn't know. How were you supposed to know? You weren't around. I did see a TikTok, I have it pulled up here on my computer, that says, grief is wild. My dad died less than 24 hours ago before this, and the only way I cope was to do all my family members' hair. And then it's a video of this girl, and she's doing, I'm assuming probably her mom and her sisters, probably some cousins, sister-in-laws. I don't know who all in her family, but she's doing people's hair. And I commented on there because I was like, it's truly just such a weird concept of just like your whole world, whoever it is that this person died to you, whether it's a family member or a friend, that either way, it's just your whole world, and it comes to an end, and everyone else around you is just going. People are still getting up in the morning, going to school, or they're going to work. The world didn't stop, at least not around, everyone around you is still going, and you're just there. Like, so for me specifically, my dad, he had hepatitis C, and he had it, there's like different stages or phases, if you will. Some people, they're able to just take medication and they're completely fine. And then there are other people who, like my dad, that needed transplants. And weird thing with transplants is you can't be too healthy and you can't be too sick. So you have to be in this weird sliver of just not well enough but not sick enough. And then there's a list of like who needs it more than you, and just basically we got to a point in the journey with him and his hepatitis C where he was in the top 10%. And so we were just waiting for the phone call for someone to come essentially die, because he needed a new liver. Like, it's not, you only got one, you can't really give up. Can you give up? Let's Google this. Oh, I turned my mouse off. Can you give half of your liver? Can you give half your liver? Can you donate a part of your liver? Oh, never mind. I don't know what I'm talking about. And this is why my parents didn't have to worry about medical school or college in general. College. I just rattled you. I'm so sorry. College dropout right here. Yes, you can donate a part of your... I'm going to move you again. Ready? Sorry. Yes, you can donate a part of your liver. I'm so sorry. I was not aware. That is my bad. Anyways. Well, he needed a whole liver, not just a part of one. And, so we were just essentially waiting for someone to die that was a match. And he just got super sick, super fast. And, even just that year leading up to his death, because, like, he got, like, some sort of procedure done. I don't know what it was called, so don't ask. He got some sort of procedure done that he said that was gonna, like, make him feel, for reference, my dad was 56 when he passed. So he had just turned 56, probably still 55 when he got this procedure done. That it was going to make him feel like he was, in his 30s again or something. Like, he was going to feel super young. And he went and got the procedure done. And he came home and he just, I don't know, just seemed off. Like, he wasn't really there. And then it was a Friday and he kind of basically just spent the whole weekend in bed. And he would not get up to eat, go to do anything, take meds. He only got up to go to the bathroom, and it sounded like he was like talking in his sleep, but he was groaning and like, he was in pain. And come Sunday, my mom was like, I'm calling the ambulance. I'm so sorry, but I'm calling the ambulance. So they came and they picked him up. And my aunt came and got me. And then I don't remember if I think I just spent the week at a friend's house. And then I was in 8th grade. I was in middle school. Wow. This is some deep stuff. Wow. Love it. I think I was spending the week at one of my friend's house, and my mom came and picked me up from school and gave me the option that I could go see my dad. He'd been in the hospital for about a week at this point, and she was like, fair warning, like, he's not in the greatest mental state. And I was like, okay, great, don't. I'm like 13, 14 years old. What am I supposed to? Yeah, like I totally understand what you're talking about, totally. And for example, she said that when they got him up to the hospital, his sister came up to see him and they started talking about Star Trek. My dad loves Star Trek. Live long and prosper. He loves Star Trek. Man, me and him used to watch that all, like old school Star Trek. Not the new age stuff. Old school with Captain Kirk, Spock. Yeah. And it was, oh man, totally off the rails. That show was so just like, there was certain things that, excuse me, I had a yawn. Certain things that show did that kind of pushed the boundary of things. Not, not going to go into a whole political thing here, but there's a lot of things that show did that a lot of people were like, oh, but anyways, we loved that show. But so his sister came up to visit him and they started talking about Star Trek, and the doctor came in and asked him, Robert, do you know who you are? And he goes, yeah, I'm in the sick bay of the Starship Enterprise. I'm waiting for Captain Kirk to come see me. Nope. Furthest thing from the truth. He was definitely not in the sick bay, and he was definitely not on the Starship Enterprise, but can't crush that man's dreams, I guess. He was full believing. So it was definitely one of those things where we were like, okay, we are only going to talk about present things in front of Bob. We are not talking about past or fake things, because apparently that is just too much. So when I went and I saw him, he was like, I don't know, like he looked at me, and the best way I could describe it was he was acting like a toddler. That's the best, like just the best way to describe it. He was acting like a toddler. And he recognized me and was just kind of like, I don't know. He just wasn't himself. It was very clear. And his moods were just everywhere. Like they came in, I don't even remember what it was. They told him something, and he started throwing a literal fit like a toddler. And I was like, interesting. This is different. And the nurses asked him like, who is this, referencing me? And he goes, oh, it's my niece. And my mom afterwards was like, I'm so sorry that he said that. And I was like, I'm not sorry. He recognized me as family. So I'll take that. So we had to go on like a low sodium diet. The amount of times that my mom caught this man eating pretzels, wild. This man loved pretzels. It's all he wanted to eat. He loved pretzels. My mom was like, boy, you out of your mind if you think you eating pretzels. My mom has a lot of patience. Lord bless her. So, but unfortunately, it didn't work out how we all thought it was going to. I was at my friend's house. We had gotten done doing our homework, and my aunt called my mom's friend and said, hey, tell Carly to get ready. We're going to go down to the hospital. And it's like 7 o'clock at night. It's dark outside. And I think, looking back, I think a part of me just knew that he was gonna go, So it's just, and it was just so funny because I was talking to my friend, like, because he was on his way down, he was at the hospital, and I was like, yeah, my aunt said that, if because he was in the emergency room for a long time, he hadn't had an actual room yet, and so I was joking around like, oh yeah, my aunt said that if he still didn't have a room, that she was gonna go down there and start walking around and plan herself in a room and be like, this one, give us this one right here, and I think it's because I knew in the back of my head that this was the call. And she came and she picked me up and she started driving, and she was like, Carly, I really, really hate to tell you this, but this is, they've gotten to the point where they've decided they're not gonna. At this point, he was just hooked up to a bunch of machines. His liver was completely shut down, so he was on a machine to help regulate his liver. Either one or both of his kidneys were shutting down, so he was on the transplant list for a kidney. A nurse had tried to put a breathing tube down, she tried to put a feeding tube down, and it went down the wrong way and collapsed one of his lungs. So he was on the transplant list for a lung. So this man needed new kidneys, a new liver, and a lung. And my dad had a conversation with my mom prior to, like, the very beginning of all of this. It was like, if I ever get to a point where I am connected to just a bunch of machines, because there was a chance we could have gotten all those organs, but there was not a chance that he was going to be able to come home and be able to actually live like a healthy, like a regular life. Like, that would have been completely scratched off the table. And my dad was like, if you get to that point, pull that plug. Like, I don't want to live like that. I don't want to be there like that. And I don't blame him. I really don't. But dang, it's hard. And like this weekend, the day of me recording this, it is Friday. It is a few days before Father's Day, so it's just this weekend's just a little bit harder than the rest. So I was not expecting to cry. Okay, y'all set me up for this. So give me 1 second. So I think, like I said, I think in the back of my head I knew that he wasn't going to make it, especially after that phone call. And I remember that it's so vivid in the back of my head, driving through, it's on a specific road near where I live. We were driving through the road, on this road, and my phone goes off. I'm in the car with my aunt. We're passing through one town. We were stopping to go get food, and then we're going to go down to the hospital. Hospital's like an hour away. I get a call from my mom, and she goes, Are you with your aunt? And I go, yeah, she's driving. She goes, tell Aunt Cheryl to call me. She hangs up the phone. And then my aunt finally, her phone starts going off. And what it was is we were driving through a dead zone for her. And she gets the call. It's from my mom. She hangs up the phone and she goes, "Carly, I'm so sorry." And I just remember just like she pulled over and she hugged me and she told me that, if you gotta punch me, if you want to scream at me, like, take out your emotions on me. Like, don't take it out on yourself, or whatever you're feeling, it's valid. And it's like, dang. Like, and then we stopped at my aunt's house to go pick up my cousin. And then we drove to my house, and my mom was home at this point. How she drove home in such a short... Lord have mercy, I don't know how she did it. I really don't. Because essentially she just had to watch her husband die and then drive home from the hospital. So something I found very interesting when I was in... Veer off and left lane real quick. What I found interesting when I was in college... I don't remember what the class was called, but it was specifically for like social work. And we talked about, like, there's a rating. Did you know there is a rating on what the most worst loss is? Number 3 is losing a parent or parently figure. Number 2 is loss of a spouse. And number 1 is the loss of a child. Which is so crazy that we have a ranking system for this. Just rank them. Top 10 ways of loss. Yay. But, so we picked up my cousin and then we drove back to my house, and my mom was there, and it was just such a weird going into the house and knowing, like, my dad won't ever be there. And then I remember this very specifically. So he died on a Tuesday, and we went to the funeral Wednesday to make funeral arrangements. The showing for the funeral was going to be on Thursday, and the funeral itself was on Friday, which is a very typical... I guess it's cheaper to do it on weekends or something. I'm not sure. Let's Google it. Is it cheaper to have a funeral on the weekend? Yes, it is generally cheaper to have the funeral on a weekday compared to the weekend. Weekend funerals are more expensive due to the higher staffing cost. Oh. Okay, so if you're going to have a funeral, have it during the week. It's cheaper that way. In case y'all needed to know. And so to Thursday, Friday. And I remember sitting in there in the room, and mind you, I'm 14. Okay? I'm in 8th grade. I just lost my dad. And I was sitting there in that room, and they're like, okay, we're going to have the showing on Thursday, and it's going to be from 6 to 8. And my brain immediately went, Vampire Diaries is on at 8 o'clock. I'm not missing my Vampire Diaries. I'm going to be mad. And everyone got so upset with me that I said that. And I'm like, bro, I am 14 years old. My dad just died. I'm so sorry that I want some form of normalcy, I didn't say that word right, but just some familiarity, because, like, are you serious right now? I don't even remember what that episode was, if I'm being like that episode of Vampire Diaries. I don't remember. I remember getting home and just sitting there watching it, but that's about it. Like, I didn't really know what was happening. And even on like that Wednesday, I made a comment of like, I have nothing to wear. And I think it was just like, I wanted to get out of the house and do something so I wasn't at home lost in my thoughts. I'm going out and I'm doing a normal thing, which is going out and shopping for clothes. And it's halfway through shopping that I'm like, I'm looking for clothes for my dad's funeral. And it's just like, and it's after someone dies, or at least it was in my case, that I don't think I look a lot like my dad. I look more like my mom. I think I am a spitting image of my mother. Now, if there was anyone here on my dad's side, here in this room, they would tell me no. So, but one of my friends, Lord bless her heart, Jessica, I remember this. She came to the showing and we were looking at all these pictures and she points at one and she goes, I know that smile. And it's a picture of my dad when he was, I don't know, in elementary school. She goes, I know that smile. That's your smile. And I was like, I have my dad's smile. And I'm only finding this out after he died. Cool, fam. Love that. Like, that's just what I wanted to hear. You know? Like, yeah, like, that's definitely what I wanted to... Yay, love that. After this, after my dad just died, to find out, oh yeah, did you know you have your father's smile? No, I didn't. Glad I knew now. Like, dang. It's just so wild. And the funny thing that happened at my dad's funeral was a couple of things, actually. So my one cousin on my dad's side saw one of my cousins on my mom's side and thought it was me. Like, he was like, I saw her profile and I was like, that's Carly. And then when I got closer and realized that she was in a wheelchair, I realized that wasn't Carly. And I was like, nope, that's my cousin Marisha. And I guess I never realized that, like, all the women on my mom's side of the family, we look all alike. Especially, like, my mom and her one sister. They are identical. It's insane. They are identical twins, I swear. But they're not. And so all of her kids look like me. You know? Like, I could pass for my cousin Rhonda, her daughter. My other cousin Marisha, I could pass for her sister. It's insane. Talk about some strong genetics that my mom's got, because we look all the same. And even like my second cousin Maya, when she was born, like when she was really young, not anymore, but when she was really young, she looked like me. And my mom sent a picture to her mom, so Maya's mom, and was like, look at this picture. And she was like, oh, I didn't realize we ever took Maya on a boat. And my mom was like, that's not Maya, that's Carly. It's like, oh, well then. So there are some strong genetics on my mom's side of the family. So, but no, yeah, so my one cousin on my dad's side thought my other cousin from my mom's side was me. It's not. My one uncle cut off, he accidentally he cut his finger and threw it in the trash, like the piece that cut off on his finger, just like the fatty tip of like the end of your finger, like that, you know, that got cut off. Very, very tip, not like the bone. And it got cut off and he just threw it in the trash. And I was like, why did you do that? And he was like, it wasn't that big of a deal. And I'm like, and you just slapped a Band-Aid on it? He goes, yeah. Okay. And then my cousin on my dad's side showed up with his new girlfriend. That was fun. Met this girl once and only once. Never met her ever again. And then one of my friends from school had a crush on one of my cousins. And I was like, I can hook you up. I never did. But that's okay. Oh, and then my teachers showed up. That was kind of awkward. Having your teachers show up to your dad's funeral. I appreciated all who came, but it was, I'm not gonna lie, kind of awkward. And then the funeral itself was beautiful. Nothing too over the top. My dad was cremated, and I was trying to see. Let me grab him. Let me grab my dad real quick. Give me 1 second. Here we go. Ready? There he is. He's in there. And we had to, there's a piece of metal wrapped around the top. I don't know if the camera can catch it. There's a piece of metal wrapped around the top where I would, because this opens and closes, because you could put ashes in it. And I fidgeted with this. I would open and close it, and it got to a point where it wouldn't close, or it wouldn't stay closed. So we had a wire bolt shut that thing, because I'm a fidgeter, and I fidgeted with it so much that it lost its, So that was my dad. I say hi to my dad, say bye. So yeah. And then so my dad got cremated, and we cremated him. And then when we went to bury him, my dad had a really big lunchbox collection. So we picked what I knew was one of his favorite lunchboxes. We took my dad's ashes and we put him in a lunchbox. And then we put the lunchbox in the ground. So my dad is buried in a lunchbox. The rest of him, part of him's right here, forever with me. Rest in peace, homie's right there. Some of them's in a matching necklace that my mother has, and then the rest of him is in a lunchbox, about 4 feet under, because his tomb thingy is on top of his dad's. Crazy. So, but yeah, and so yeah, it's been 12 years? Yeah, it's been 12 years since he's been gone, and it's hard. Like I said, I have moments. I was not expecting to cry during this episode. I cried several times. But I mean, that's grief. That's what it is. Like, there's moments where I'm fine. Like, there's times where I talk about his death and what happened, and I'm completely fine. And then I have other times, like today, where I'm like, mocking myself here. And I make the dead dad jokes, and everyone's like, Carly, and I'm just like, I'm so sorry. What do you expect me to say? at this point, you know? Like, really. What do you really expect me to do or say? Seriously. So, but yeah. So, rest in peace, Robert. You will be missed. It's really crazy to think. Happy Father's Day, though. Happy Father's Day to... By the time you see this, Father's Day will be long past. Sorry. But happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. And if you are someone else who's lost a parent, whether that is your mom or your dad, or maybe it's your stepmom or stepdad, or someone who was a fatherly figure or motherly figure to you, I'm sorry. I get you. I feel you. Can you not? The cat's waking up and she's being loud. I don't know if you heard it, but I heard it. But no, I see you, I feel you, I get it. It's hard. And it's so weird going up to people who are, I don't want to say the normal age, but the typical age you lose your parent, like when they're a lot older and you're older, you know, like when you're 60, 50, 60 or something, and your parent's like 20-ish or 30-ish years older than you, and I'm this 20-something, you know, year old person, and I'd be like, yeah, I don't understand what you're going through. And they're like, do you really? I'm like, I lost my dad when I was 14. You want to try that again? And they're like, oh, I did not realize. I'm so sorry. And I'm like, I'm a lot smarter than you know. So, but yeah, so I think that's all I have to really say at this point for this episode. Grief is weird. It's definitely, it's a journey. It's not a linear thing. Like, I know, like, I'm not married, and I know from my wedding, weddings are the hardest. Weddings are so hard. I just said I don't think I have anything else to talk about. Here I am. Give me another 5 minutes. I'm not married. I'm not married yet. And I know I'm probably going to lose it at my wedding. Because I just breathe into the microphone. I'm so sorry. I've done that a couple of times. But no, yeah, it's gonna be hard. I kind of know who I want to give me away at my wedding, and I do want to give like honor to my dad, even though, you know, he's not gonna be there. He'll be there in spirit, obviously. So, but yeah, that's my dead dad journey. Wow. Let's go. I still have not figured out exactly what sort of schedule I want to do for this. I'm probably gonna try to record a bunch of videos and then just kind of mass release when I can, just so we have episodes. By the time you see this, 0.5 and this episode will be out for you to view, and hopefully by the time it's out, I'll have episode 2 recorded. We'll be talking about Joel, because you gotta talk about Joel at this point. You know, we're gonna talk about dead fathers. We're gonna talk about Joel, and I got Last of Us on my mind because I'm very unsatisfied about season 2. I've watched the game, been played, and then I've watched the TV show. So, I'm pretty caught up. But I hope you guys have a great day. Thank you all for listening and hanging out with me today. Thank you for listening to me cry and go through all of my emotions together. I will see you in the next episode. Can I not talk today? I will see you guys in the next episode.